It's delusional to believe that a man can be a woman. We have no problem with a man feeling like a woman, identifying as a trans woman, being a trans woman. Yeah, you do. That's why you want to take away the right to transition. It's just a prime example of people just not understanding how the world works. Women don't have prostates or Adam's apples. That's why it's called an Adam's apple. The Adam's apple is actually the larynx. Testosterone can make it more prominent. Women don't have prostates. Trans women do. And trans women are women. If it's females don't have prostates, then there's like a lot of the organs are the same. They just have like a different name for it. And sadly, these people are the ones who are voting to take our rights away. And that is a problem. Twitter's a dark, evil place. That is true. I can show you the latest conversation I had. Here's this video.
On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies.
You know, this was an old video, but like Trump announces he will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the US government are male and female. Male and female aren't genders. And everybody like knows that, but people don't want to listen to it. So this person was like, you're only right if we redefine gender. We don't have to redefine it. Gender includes the social, psychological, cultural, and behavioral aspects of being a man, woman, or other gender identities. So this person obviously replies with skull emoji, Wikipedia. So I was like, which source is adequate? Gender refers to the characteristics of women, men, girls, and boys that are socially constructed by the World Health Organization. What is the accurate definition of gender? The behavioral, cultural, or psychological traits typically associated with one sex. Merriam-Webster. What is the legal definition of gender? Gender includes actual or perceived sex, gender identity, and gender expression, including a person's actual or perceived gender-related self-image, appearance, behavior expression, or other gender-related characteristics, regardless of the sex assigned to the person at birth. New York City government. Is gender just biology? Ask a biologist. Whatever. Gender is separate from biological sex. Obviously, this person replies with, how many times has gender been redefined? How many sources do you need for a simple word? So this is all just the same definition. It's just multiple sources of that definition. So they give me Oxford Dictionary. The male sex or the female sex, especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. I said, it's literally the same definition. Your position is that male and female are not genders. Gender refers to the two sexes of male and female. Gender refers to the social expression of a person, not biological sex. They replied with a link to like Oxford Dictionary and like a history. There's just mentions of gender. Like, I don't know what this person is trying to tell me with this, but obviously definitions change. I replied with, what is a heterosexual? The 1901 Dorland's Medical Dictionary defined heterosexually as an abnormal or perverted appetite toward the opposite sex. Like, obviously, like, words change. Like, words evolve. The definition changes as, you know, people understand the world, how the world works a little bit more. Like, language evolves. That's why we have dialects. That's why we have different languages. That's just how it works. I'm sorry that that offends you. If we redefine any word, it will mean something else. They want us to go back to the earliest definition from 1901. Quit with the strawman. Changing the definition of gender does not equate to changing anything or all words to the meanings over 100 years ago. Why is gender the exception? Why can all words evolve, but gender can't? And then these people always hit us with, it's delusional to believe that a man can be a woman. We have no problem with a man feeling like a woman, identifying as a trans woman, being a trans woman. Yeah, you do. That's why you want to take away the right to transition. That's why you want to take away gender affirming care when it doesn't align with one's assigned sex at birth. That's literally the problem here. I don't fucking care how you feel about trans women. I care when people like you take away our rights. And I'm not going to tolerate that shit. Because tolerating that, tolerating the transphobia, tolerating the misogyny, the bigotry, it's exactly what leads to a world where people like us have to fear for our lives, like we currently do. And you do have a problem with a man feeling like a woman because you don't think men are equal equal to women. You have a problem because you are living in a world where your entire concept of yourself is defined by your genitalia, and you're just emulating what the world around you tells you, what your environment tells you. And you have a problem with us being ourselves because it makes you question your own gender identity. Who are you if what you are isn't determined by your genitalia? What are you? And a lot of people don't want to think about that stuff, so they just shut us down. And these people don't want to listen to us. Like, they refuse to listen to us. Like, I have no problem explaining these things to you. I have no issues explaining things to you that you understand. I have issues with people like you taking away our rights and pushing transphobia and misinformation because you can't open a scientific book and you reject science. You reject how the world works. You reject our own personal experiences because they don't match your own. And you also reject scientists who dedicated their entire life to understanding how the world works. You are rejecting science because it makes you question your worldview. You know what's really funny? Of course, this person is a Christian, because I was like, are you willing to learn why that is wrong, or are you set in your ways? And this person hits me, what is right or wrong? You have no basis for morals except your own feelings. Or am I wrong and you do believe in God? We are not talking about morals. I don't fucking care where your morals come from. But if you reject science because it doesn't align with how you feel, how the world works, I can't help you. Because all the definitions, everything about trans people requires you to understand that science observes how the universe works. And people dedicate their life to figuring that thing out. And if you reject science, then how can I explain to you why you don't know anything about the world? If your entire basis for hating trans people is that you don't feel the same and you refuse to listen to our explanations to make things clear to you despite you not experiencing gender dysphoria or whatever, like, how can I reach people like that if they just refuse to listen? How can I explain to you how math works if you refuse to believe that 1 + 1 = 2? Like, I can't make it clear to you if you refuse this small little detail, because everything is built on this fact. I've tried so many different angles with these people. Everything comes down to this small little detail that they refuse to believe in science. They reject scientific evidence because because they don't feel the same way. And this is the problem with this whole debate. I can use sociology, I can use psychology, I can use neurology, I can use biology to explain everything. I can try to appeal to empathy, I can try to share my own experiences. But how can I reach people who refuse that 1 + 1 = 2? It doesn't work, because everything comes down to science and understanding how the world works and giving these people information that they just don't want to listen to. And this is why we are in this mess. There's so many misconceptions. There's so many issues in this way of thinking. And like, you have to go to the deepest level and fix that misinformation, and then we can move forward. I can talk about so many different things, like, oh, gender has been redefined. Oh yeah, every word has been redefined. Words evolve. It's like, oh yeah, but gender, male, and biology. And it's like, sociology explains that gender is more than just biology. It's separate from biology. Is that how you feel? Or like, no, because like scientists, oh, but yeah, scientists are wrong always. And Bible, praise the Lord, Jesus. And there we have it. This is the problem. You cannot use science to explain why they are wrong. And they don't want to listen to preachers who are telling them that being gay is not a mental illness. They don't want to listen to these people either. Oh, here's a quote from the Bible that says that Jesus actually loves everyone. Oh, Jesus is too woke. You can't reach these people even on the same playing field. It's really difficult to argue with people who just disagree on the most fundamental things. We're not on the same playing ground, and you just refuse to come over to our side, to the side of science. That is the issue with this whole situation, is that people are just like so set in their way, and they're like, fuck these people, I don't feel this way, take away their rights, lock them up, arrest them, because it's not my skin. It's not me who has to suffer. It's so exhausting. These people vote. These people essentially decide our fate. These people make the world so much worse worse, not just for us, but for so many minorities, for so many women. As long as people just stick to, I have God whispering in my ear that I'm right, so I'm right and you're wrong because, fuck you, I guess. Like, as long as we have people like this, we will never be free. This is why it's so important to have LGBTQ education from the ground up. Like, there's nothing sexual about telling why Timmy has 2 dads and not a mom and a dad. You don't have to tell people that, yeah, that's, you know, and then someone takes the pee-pee and then they shove it into a different hole. You don't have to explain that. You don't explain that to kids. But you also don't explain to kids how it works with a mom and a dad. You go, yeah, you know, little Timmy, sometimes someone can have a dad who really loves another man. Sometimes you can have 2 moms. Sometimes you have people who just don't fit into the description as mom and dad. You know, like, there's nothing sexual about it, but they use protecting children from sexual things and stuff like that as an excuse to not educate people why Timmy can have 2 dads. And then Timmy comes into a school and then everybody makes fun of them because they don't know how things work. And then that's how bullying starts. And then these people who are bullies sometimes grow up and they never learn how the world works, and then they get violent, and then they become conservatives and they vote Republicans. And that's why they don't want people to be educated, because every single time people are starting to be educated, every single time when people understand how things work and they are willing to learn, they become progressive, they become leftists. And this is why they want to abolish the education system. This is why they don't want LGBTQ books or whatever. There's nothing inherently sexual about it. There's also nothing sexual when a man wears a skirt. There's also nothing sexual about a man dressing up in an artistic way and presenting themselves as a drag queen and reading to minors. There's nothing sexual about it. Nobody's starting to whip out their genitalia and shove it in people's faces. Pride rallies. People are just not on the street fucking each other. That's not what's happening. I mean, in some events, but like, you know, you have to be an adult. But like, the thing is, like, when these people just don't agree with you on a fundamental basis, on like something that you need in order to understand everything on top of it, it doesn't matter what you build on shitty foundation. You have to fix the foundation in order to build something on top of it that is going to last. Don't you remember what we did on the streets? Yeah, but not with kids present. Vanilla! Not with kids present. You know, this is why I want to talk about these things, because it just highlights what the problem is. I am so willing to talk to these people about like why they are wrong, but we have to agree that the Bible is not correct. That the Bible doesn't explain you anything. You need science. You need sociology. You need biology. You need gender studies. You need psychology. I can tell you about nature. I can tell you about penguins being gay, sheep being gay, orcas being gay because the females don't want to date the males if they're young, but they still have like a sex drive, so they fuck each other. Like, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. You just refuse to believe that because science is woke propaganda or whatever. And as long as you don't agree that religion is not an observation of how the world works, but science is, as long as you don't agree with that, there's nothing I can tell you is going to fix this misunderstanding.